Hey Fabian, it's been a long time since we've spoken, hasn't it? Yeah, God, at least nearly the end of last year, I think it was, before I got kicked out of Grassfield. Um, yeah, hope you're well. Hope you're well. How's your? Have you finished your university degree course now? I think you have. Maybe, maybe not. Um, anyway, yeah. Sorry to break the silence with a question, but I believe you're really good at this rigging kind of thing, and it'd be great. I've got a couple of problems that I just can't seem to get my head around. Anyway, without further ado, so I've got this phone model. I've set it up. I followed an old tutorial, and I say old. This guy was using version 2.66 of Blender, so very old. And it needed for me to then adapt a couple of things to make it work in a later version. I'm using 3.6 here, but it works to a degree. So I can flex the cable any way I want with these 3 points here, these 3 empties. I've hooked these up to bones and whatever inside of the rig. Yeah, that works. If I move the handset, that works. And the great thing is, if I leave it stretched out, you can see the gap between the curls gets bigger, as it would when you stretch a cable out, but the actual diameter of the cable itself stays the same, doesn't distort. And the reason for that is that the cable has a set of modifiers applied, or rather active. Excuse me. And yeah, I think if you applied these, or at least if you applied one of these, probably the skin, I'm not sure, if you stretch the handset out, the diameter of the cable itself distorts. It becomes fatter or thinner or whatever, depending on which way you put the handset, which is not what I want. So these have those modifiers have to stay active, which causes one problem, and that problem is, I'll show you. I think it's what's causing it anyway. Look, you can see that when I stretch out the cable, you get this weird twist happening along certain sections, and that changes as you move the cable, depending on where the cable is. Sometimes you see it, sometimes you don't. So that would be good to solve. I'm hoping it's not simply just this. Yeah, I'm hoping it's something that can be done with these staying active. Otherwise, as I say, well, let me show you. If I apply this skin, the minute I now stretch this cable out, you don't get any of that twist, but yeah, this distorts incorrectly, which, yeah, I definitely don't want. There we go. So that's one problem. The other problem is that I've rigged this up, as I say, these 3 empties, which are hooked up to some bones which aren't switched on at the moment. They're hidden at the moment, but they're there. They can move the cable around. These empties at the ends, these 2 here and these 4 here, are all about keeping this cable in place. So it's shoved into some jack sockets at either end, so that when I move this cable with the empties, it stays put, which is what I needed. I did try it with all sorts of ways to keep that in place, and it seemed that this arrangement of 4 empties worked the best. There might be other solutions, but that seemed to work for me. Same again at the other end. I only did 2 there though. Excuse me, God, my throat's really hoarse. The problem is that, okay, so I can move the cable around. I mean, barring that little twist that happens, I can move the cable around without a problem, as you expect. The phone's hooked up this way with the bone so that everything moves together, but everything's hooked up. However, when I rotate, so you can move it, but when I rotate the phone, so let's do that. I'll just rotate it to 90 degrees. You can see that the cable, for some reason, jumps out of its socket. And it doesn't happen at 89 degrees. It literally happens at the start of 90 degrees, all the way to 180, and then it goes back into its socket again. So it's obviously a rotational issue. I just don't know how to fix it. Similarly, actually, I say if I rotate that on the y-axis, does that also have a problem? Let's have a look. Yeah, look, it comes out of its socket. So yeah, that's one problem at that end, and then obviously at the handset end, although you can rotate it on the X and the Z, so let me do that. I'll rotate on the X. It stays in its socket, the cable, which is great. And if I rotate on the the Z, that's fine as well. However, the minute I rotate on the Y, what am I doing? You can see that, yeah, it drifts out of its socket. Look. Now I'm really hoping, because I don't want to have to rig this all up again. Although if I have to, then fine. But as long as there's a solution. But what I'm hoping is that I've just parented something incorrectly. You know, maybe it's these empties here. The trouble is you can't change the origins of these. They're fixed, I believe. You can't put the origin sort of to match the handset or whatever might solve it. But yes, I'd love to know if there's a solution for this, because I'm stuck otherwise. And as I say, the other problem, which is where the cable is twisting, which I think is related to the modifier, but I need the modifier to stay active. It might be that I can't do anything about that particular twist problem, and I just have to position the cable where you don't see that twist. I'm hoping that's not the case, but hey, maybe you know, I'm sure you do, more about this than I do. So yeah, there we go. Hopefully that gives a clear idea of what the problem is. I've got this file, by the way. It's completely clean. There's no textures or anything applied, so I'll send this as well, and you can have a play if you feel that's useful. Please, though, if you're too busy or you don't want to tackle it, that's totally fine. I get it. As I say, I'm kind of coming out of the blue with this. I've been tearing my hair out is all. I just needed someone to kind of, with more expertise, to look at it. I have asked on my particular, my Discord channels that I'm on, but no one seems to know. And actually, when you go to look at rigging tutorials for this kind of spiral cord, there aren't that many. Especially ones that allow you to, stretch out the cable and the cable stay without distortion. But yeah, anyway, thanks. Catch you later. Bye.